My name is Megan Flint, and today we are talking about invasive species and one of their sources through the lens of an event that has been ongoing in Tahiti for a while now. Tahiti is part of the French Polynesian island chain. It is a beautiful volcanic island with high peaks, sharp ridges, and steeply sloping valleys. The environment lends itself to cloud forests, warm weather, and high precipitation levels. Tahiti is the site of many rare or unique flora and fauna, like Polyscia and the Tahiti reed warbler. It is also the site of the hostile takeover by the plant Miconia calvescens, better known as the velvet tree, green cancer, or purple plague. This tree can survive in altitudes up to 1,300 meters, matures early, and is constantly producing seeds with a high germination rate. It best favors tropical climates, preferring megathermal, rainforest, or monsoon climate types. Why should we care though? It's just another plant doing what it has evolved to do, survive. Like animals, plants are given limited resources, which they have to fight over to survive. The outdoors are essentially a giant plant versus plant session that will never end. Well, because it wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. It's what we call an invasive alien species, which is defined as a species that are introduced to an environment they might not have been introduced naturally to and can potentially cause harm to the native environment or human populace. Miconia is native to Central and Southern America, but has expanded around the world due to consumerism. See, Miconia is an ornamental tree, a plant that is very pretty and little else. With large, bright green leaves that reveal deep purple undersides, they are absolutely gorgeous. Due to demand for the trees, they were purchased and spread worldwide. Miconia was first introduced to Tahiti around 1937 in botanical gardens, and by the 1980s they were a common pest. Unfortunately, these trees were too good at dispersal to stay caged up in gardens and made their way to the forests of Tahiti. They ran rampant with no native predators and soon took over the native forests, which is really great for Miconia, not so great for those flora and fauna previously mentioned. Miconia grows from 4 to 12 meters tall, and with those big leaves it can block most, if not all, sunlight for the plants of the undergrowth. This kills or severely affects the ecosystem of the undergrowth, as well as soil retention. Tahiti, with their steep slopes, cannot afford to lose one of the only things keeping the soil in place. Pictured here is an example of what happens when soil gets too wet and causes a mass wasting movement. More specifically, either a debris flow or a debris slide due to the destruction of the undergrowth. But the trees are there to stop the flow, aren't they? What's up with that? Well, Miconia has a relatively shallow root system, so it doesn't help with soil erosion. Another effect of this purple plague is lack of biodiversity. The undergrowth is a rich and diverse habitat, and Miconia steals vital resources that the plants below need. It blocks sunlight, limits water, and steals nutrients and soil space that other plants were previously using. Miconia is labeled as a high-intensity invasive species and made the list of top 100 invasive alien species in the Global Invasive Species Database, written by the Invasive Species Specialist Group, and is responsible for the threatening of up to 100 species, almost 40 solely native to French Polynesia. Here are some examples of species threatened by Miconia. As you can see, they are mostly threatened by the shading of the Miconian leaves. But fear not, my intrepid listeners, for there is a good end to this tale. People have been looking into how to combat this plague and have found a couple of natural solutions. One of these solutions were insects that were native to the area in which Miconia was also from. They studied multiple insects from Brazil and Costa Rica and found that they attacked the fruits, leading to decreased germinability, or the leaves, another negative effect. Specific insects used in the study were: in Brazil, they studied a leaf-grasping sawfly, a defoliating caterpillar, a fruit-galling wasp, and a fruit-boring weevil. In Costa Rica, they used species of Lepidoptera, like the ones shown here. Another natural control method is a fungus called Colectoricium. The fungus works best on newly germinated seed. The fungus works by causing lesions in leaf blight that inhibit plant growth. Such inhibitions can be fatal to new seedlings. These methods attack new plant growth and seeds, so it would be a good biocontrol measure to prevent new plants, but more settled plants would still require physical intervention. Both of these methods work better in difficult-to-reach places and are cheaper than the original method of physical intervention and herbicides. A way that the average person can help is by washing their clothes and other travel items before and after vacationing to prevent the spread of invasive species. Another way is to petition the local, state, and federal government to have shared and cohesive invasive plant regulation or prevention legislation that prevent the buying of highly dangerous invasive species, or at the minimum heavily regulate such actions. Lastly, anyone can look at the data and resist buying an ornamental plant that could become invasive in favor of a local plant. Thank you for your time and have a good day.